everyone, and welcome. And we are talking about the Magdalene Mother Baby Homes here today and the Magdalene institutions. And I have with me Paul McClarey. Paul's birth name is Martin Purcell, and Paul, being of mixed race, his story is very different from the ones we have had before. So thank you, Paul, for agreeing to tell us your story. It's very horrific and very unusual. And let me start you off. Your mother, at 17 years of age, got involved with a married man who was 40. They met in a cafe in Derry. She was 18, and he groomed and manipulated her.
Yeah.
Right. And the result was that she became pregnant. She was taken in by Derry Social Services into Marianville in Belfast. And then 18 days after that, you were taken away after you were born. You were taken away by the welfare into the children's home in Derry.
That's right.
And your mother was sent to the Magdalene Laundry in Marianville in Belfast. Can you take on your story from there for us, Paul?
Yeah. So you're right. My mother went to Marianville in November 1963.
Yes,
when
63.
she was 5 months pregnant with me, and I was born in 1964.
Okay.
My mother actually had written a letter. I saw a copy of that. I actually have the original of that letter in January 1964, where she asked the welfare to ask a relative to bring her up some clothes because she thought she was going home. I was born a month later in February.
Yep.
And 19 days after I was born, I was taken by the welfare to a children's home in Derry.
Mm-hmm.
My mother wasn't then allowed to leave the Mother and Baby Institution. She was put into the laundry in the Marianville site, St. Mary's Laundry,
Mm-hmm.
and she stayed there for another 3 months.
Okay.
The only reason that we can find in all of the files and information that we have, or what we suspect, is she was put in there because she had a mixed race child. I've been lucky in later years lucky in one regard, to uncover lots of documents, and some of them are quite shocking. So, for example, when I was admitted into the children's home, there was a medical report done.
Okay.
Covered all the things like, has the child had these vaccinations, what weight were they,
The usual
etc.
stuff.
The
Yeah.
usual stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But at the bottom of that document, there is a section, a standard section, that does the child have any defects, any mental, physical disabilities, and they have written in that section, baby is coloured. So
That was the defect side for them. Yeah.
in their view,
In their
that was a defect. There are other letters in that file that talk about baby being handicapped by his colour. So obviously they saw that as you know,
a disadvantage for you.
a disadvantage. Baby is half caste. Some of the language in it is quite shocking. There's a letter, actually I have a copy of it here on my phone, where they're trying to place me. So the Derry welfare are talking to another welfare. If you don't mind, I'll
Go ahead.
read
Read
the last paragraph of this letter, which was written by one welfare officer to another on the 26th of November 1964. I do hope it will be possible to find a foster home for Martin, where the standards would not be high in an area where other coloured people are living. So
in other words, any place at all would do you.
Anything will do. That was their attitude, decision making, made, in my view, based on racism. Extremely racist. These are official documents. It's actually shocking that this is the norm. This is how they would write things. And yeah, difficult decisions were made. I was eventually, so my mother,
When she left, she went to work in a shirt factory
she did,
to pay for your keep in the...
yeah,
Yeah.
she
She tried to keep you close in that way, didn't she? Yes.
to keep me close
Yep.
in the children's home in Derry. She interacted with me. She'd come to visit me, and they had asked for her to pay some money towards
Yep.
my keep,
Which she was doing.
which she was doing.
Yep.
She was earning £6 a week in the shirt factory, and she was contributing towards my keep, coming to visit me. And then they pursued or tried to pursue my father for paternity payments as well. And he obviously didn't need all
Of course.
knowledge of me
Yep.
as happened in those days. And they couldn't pursue me for money, so my mother then fell into arrears. But interestingly, they sent her a letter in February 1965, and the letter went along the lines of, really, Kathleen, you've fallen into arrears, and if you don't keep up payments for Martin, we will have to make other arrangements for him, and we can't guarantee they'll be in Derry.
That's threatening or...
That's threatening.
Yeah, threatening, yeah.
But they're ready-made decisions, because I found an advert that was in the Irish News in November of 1964, so 4 months before
Okay.
they wrote that letter. And we just find it here. There it is there. So this is a
Home wanted, yes.
home wanted, foster home, Catholic, wanted for a coloured baby, aged 11 months, details of allowances, etc., from the Children's Officer Welfare Office in Derry. So
it was all about money here, wasn't it?
It's all about money. Mm-hmm. All about money. So the interesting thing was, once they sent her that threatening letter, even though they had already made arrangements 4 months earlier, so I was never going to be able to stay with her. That was the decision they had made. She tried to make payments, entered into a payment plan. So they're not the actions of a woman who wants to give up her son. She had no support from her family. She had no support at all from the welfare. It's clear.
They let her down.
They let her down.
The state let her down. Church let her down. Her family let her down.
They all let her down. Yeah. She was a very vulnerable young girl. Her own mother was a prostitute. At that time, when I was born, her own mother was in Muckamore.
Muckamore Abbey. Yeah.
Muckamore Abbey. And my mother had been raised in abstract poverty in Derry. 4 or 5 generations of families living in the one house, housing for Catholics.
Well, poverty was a big thing in those days.
Poverty, deprivation. And she never knew what love was. She, was shown no love by her grandmother. There's a letter in the file that states that. Okay. She was shown very little, so highly vulnerable. My father obviously groomed and manipulated her. He was 40 years old.
Married.
And saw an opportunity when his wife was away on holidays to bring my mother and another girl up to his house and have sex with both of them. The sad thing is that my mother said that she knew that people in the cafe where she'd met him, and she used the words, I think they know I'm going out with him. And that's just so sad for me that in her innocent eyes, she thought this man was her boyfriend. But
oh dear,
when we look at it and see the
but he was grooming her.
He was manipulating and grooming her, but she
and
just
now
loved.
You were adopted
I was adopted
But
then.
you could, and it took 5.5 years to get that adoption finalised.
Yeah.
And you couldn't really connect with your adoptive mother, so you couldn't. So at 18 years of age, you walked away from that
I
family
did, yeah.
to Coleraine, right? And that adoptive family told you nothing about your
They
parents.
told me nothing. They said they didn't know anything. They actually said to me that they wanted another child. They didn't really want another child, but whenever they went to the children's home and they saw me, they just had to have me.
Okay.
But it was the welfare that approached them to have me. They didn't come looking for another child. They were approached.
They were approached.
On the basis that they had another mixed race child. They asked for more money.
It's all about money. It's all about
because more than the allowance that people would get when somebody's boarded out of foster, the state obviously pay an allowance.
Okay.
They asked for more money because they knew I was handicapped by my colour, and the welfare paid them more money for me to be boarded out, but yet they wouldn't allow my mother, who was working in a shirt factory earning £6 a week, to
keep paying for you.
You know, they wouldn't say, well, Kathleen, we won't take the money, but he can stay here and you can interact with him until you get on your feet, or we'll help you, we'll find. They were prepared to pay more money to the wrong family for me to go away from her. And I just find that.
Yeah. Let's move on now. 22 years of age, you were getting married and you applied for your original birth certificate and you got your mother's name and address and you went to Derry to meet her.
Yeah.
She was then 41 years of age. You couldn't find the house, but you found a children's home where you were told that your mother was dead and you discovered that you had a half-brother and sister.
Yeah.
Your mother had been 29 years dead at that stage.
No, she died when she was 20.
She died when she was 29 years of age. And she had 3 other children beside you.
Yeah, that's correct.
And she was involved in alcohol.
Yeah.
And she had a horrendous death, hadn't she?
She did, yeah.
How did that happen, do you know?
We don't know the full circumstances of it, but at that time, alcohol had played a huge part of her life.
Okay.
She was moving between hostels. She'd been in prison for a while.
Why in prison? What did she?
Well, she stole a bottle of whiskey, and she ended up in prison. But the sad thing is, and I spoke to somebody who was in prison with her. She came forward after I'd done a similar documentary on television, and she told me that your mum just loved being in there because she had friends, and that's something that she didn't
never had before
outside. So that was really difficult and sad to hear. She ended up homeless. She ended up breaking a curfew and asked to leave one of the hostels. So she was staying in a kind of squat in North Belfast. 1974, Belfast was on fire. She was right on an interface, very volatile area. And all we know is that an anonymous young man made a phone call to the police. Police arrived and my mother's body, she was still alive, well, she was badly burned and she was wrapped in a blanket. And she was taken to the Royal Victoria Hospital. She died 5 days later and she was 29 years old.
That's horrendous, Paul.
I suppose for me as a young man at 22, having this huge focus of this woman who I can't physically remember, but I have this huge bond with my mother.
It's the mother-son bond, isn't it?
It is.
Especially when the son was taken away from her against her will. It's that bond, you know?
I can see in the file, actually, when I read letters, they talk about when I was taken to the children's home, I cried for 5 days solid. And when I was taken out of the children's home to the adopted family, I cried for weeks. So...
You've been told, Paul, this is all better left in the past, haven't you? And you've been told by an aunt or a cousin that your mother was better off dead. You've been told that, haven't you? So what kind of a life must she have
I know,
had?
I could never understand that. You know, that's what they told me. I remember I met my grandmother in town.
Your grandmother's still alive?
No, she's dead
She
now.
did know. She didn't know.
I met her shortly after I went looking for my mum. I was only 22, and I wasn't expecting to meet relatives.
You didn't know you had any?
I didn't know it. You know, I should never.
You were looking for your mother?
I should never have walked in there. When I applied for my original birth certificate, it just came in the post. There was no social worker or anybody to say there's an adopted person trying to access his file. It just arrived and I went there.
Your birth certificate?
Totally unprepared for all of this.
Was your father's name on that birth certificate?
It wasn't, no.
No, just your mother's name?
Just my mother's
Kathleen.
name. Kathleen Veronica Purcell.
Kathleen Purcell.
Yeah, she went back.
And your daughter, your little girl at the moment, is called Kathleen, the Irish version of that, yeah.
That's right, yeah. So that...
You know, the years you could have had with your mother, that's what really is hitting you most, isn't it? The years you could have had with a mother whom you loved.
Yeah.
And your memories of her?
I physically can't remember anything about her at all.
But you still feel this very, very strong bond.
A strong bond.
Ties you to her.
I would often say, you know, whatever smile I saw from her, whatever words I heard, whatever gentle stroke I received from her, whatever it was, that feeling has stayed with me all of my life. And I can see in a file, and I've spoken to friends, and you know, your mummy loved you, she had no chance. I can see that. She tried to keep me. But
the system was against her.
The system was against her, but I will...
Especially being a mixed race child, the system was even more against her. She had the chance.
There's the letters that I've read.
Yeah.
That's unofficial.
She hadn't a chance.
She didn't have a chance. And I think there was an extra layer that of penance that needed to be paid for these young vulnerable girls who got involved in mixed race relationships. I firmly believe that. By the language that
it's a bigger sin for them than if you had bigger sin. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. They committed a bigger crime than if.
Yeah. I mean, I was boarded out for 5.5 years, and I can see letters that went to the adopted family saying, "Really, you need to adopt Paul. You need to adopt him now." And they kept going back and saying, "Well, we can't adopt him yet because we'll lose the allowance." If that was to happen now, that would be red flag.
Money, Paul, it's all money.
It's money. They let me stay in a place that I should never have been. And they let that go on.
You were a commodity.
A commodity, yeah.
And she got letters chasing her for the money. They chased her for the money. It was all about money, wasn't it?
It was all about money.
No matter what way you look at it.
Yeah. In fact, I found that when she was in the Mother and Baby Institution, they did an income and assessment form to see should she pay for my keeping the children's home. And they were actually taking her state maternity pay off her to pay for her board and lodgings in the Mother and Baby Institution. So it's all just a money racket. It's
taken you 40 years to find the full truth, hasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, Mother and Baby Institutions, whenever I met the family, they never spoke about Mother and Baby Institutions. And I've been digging, along with lots of other people I've met in this journey, digging for files, trying to get files unredacted. And after 40 years, I've been, I suppose, luckier than others that I have comprehensive files and information now. But the sad thing is that the very thing that I want is to look my mother in the face and ask her,
which you can't have,
did you love me? Did you want to give me away? And I'll never be able to hear the answer to that question. That'll go with me to my grave. But I can see, yes, it looks like, and people tell me, but for me, I need to hear that from her. Because when I was growing up, that's what adopted people feel. They feel abandoned.
Ejected.
They're told, sure, your mother didn't want you, she didn't love you, we've given you a good life. And that's That's a terrible
Right.
shame.
You don't want an apology, Paul. That's going to be no good to you.
No,
You want the life you should have had with your mother, but that's not possible.
there's
You lost out on that life with your mother that you would have cherished so much.
unless they can take her out of the grave that she's in. I give me a life with her. There is nothing that the government can do. I don't want apologies because they knew all of this was going on. They knew it was going on. And we have to drag them to some pulpit to give an apology. That means nothing to me.
So what are you fighting for, Paul? What's important to you now? What do you want? Redress for yourself and for your mother?
I want redress for myself as an acknowledgement that the state destroyed my life. I want my mother's life to be acknowledged. I'm looking at a piece of draft legislation that says anybody who died before 2011 will not get any a posthumous claim here. So here's a young girl failed by the state, failed by her family, failed by religious orders, who died homeless in Belfast, didn't live to see 30, had 4 children, and here we go again. She's just been failed again. Her life means nothing. It still means nothing. So that is why the posthumous date is so, so important, not just to me, but to many other victims and survivors that I speak to.
And again, the stigma and the shame, the rejection and the abandonment, that's all very much part of the story. Do you think it's worse because you were a mixed-race child? And do you think your mother suffered more because she'd been in a mixed-race relationship?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I've grown up here for a long, long time as a brown boy in the white world, you know.
Okay.
Growing up in the 70s.
Was worse?
In the north. Was tough. It was hard.
Because with all the immigration thing, with all the immigrants coming in now, you don't very much notice. But now, in those days, you would have stood out very, very prominently, wouldn't you?
In a big Catholic school. That's extremely difficult. It's difficult growing up as a teenager.
Yeah.
It's more difficult growing up subject to racism.
Yes.
But it's, again, another layer. It's difficult growing up when you are living in a place that you know is not your home, with people who you know are not your family, with an adopted mother who I couldn't bond with.
You couldn't bond with her?
I couldn't bond with her. I knew. In fact, she wrote a letter to the welfare shortly after I had gone there to say it had taken her a couple of months to write because really Paul has been so unhappy. So some reason that little baby or 11-month-old child, of all the people in that family, it was a big Catholic family, of all the people he wouldn't interact or bond with that mother, I knew at a very young age, who are you? You're not my mummy. I was able to sense that. So for me, from day one, I just knew I had to survive. I knew it was me on my own against the world. That has shaped all of my life. And that's been difficult. It's been so difficult to form relationships.
But you have a happy life now?
I have a content life.
Content.
I have a good life.
You're still hankering after this mother the life you were deprived of with her. That's still haunting you, Paul.
I have a career, I have a partner, I have a baby, I have children through my first marriage, I have lots of friends, but there's still a huge
gap.
Emptiness.
There's a hole. There's
an emptiness in my life. Some people would describe talking to me and meeting me, and they've said something that's really shocked me. They said, even though you can speak and all of these things, we still see a little boy looking for his mummy.
Aww.
And
you think they're right? Of course they're right. They're right, yes, yeah.
I had never realised that until recently.
Well, you see, as a little boy, you never had a mother.
Yeah.
So that part of your life is missing.
I've never been able to close that, and I will never be able to close that. I'm 61 years old, and if somebody told me there was a letter in Cork or Dubai or where, I'd be away looking for it. I have thousands of pages. I'd be away looking for it. There's no closure here. whatever legislation or redress or whatever they do, they will never be able to repair the damage that they have done to us.
Well, that's
all of us.
repairable.
It's
That's
not
irreparable.
repairable. You know, but do I want redress? Do I want these things? Do I want justice? If I could get people in prison, I would have them in prison if I could. You know,
Somebody's got to be accountable. You are angry.
I am angry.
And you're frustrated and you're bitter. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think justifiably so.
Justifiably so, yeah.
Take these, you know, little babies away from their mothers.
But they did, Paul, they did.
You'll have a good home. And I didn't have a good home. I didn't have a good life. The life that I wanted, they stole that away from me. And I am angry. So whatever it takes for them to acknowledge what they did was wrong, but an apology for me, it's weasel words. I've heard them all before. I've heard it down south. I've heard nuns and priests and people, oh, we're so, and the Taoiseach, oh, we're sorry, but it's words. It's words. It's words for votes.
Words for votes, yeah.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah. If they were sorry, they would have stopped what was going on then. They knew about it. If they were sorry, the welfare would have found a way for my mother and me to have a life together. They would have said, look, we'll get you a flat. Don't worry. There's benefits you can get. There's a way we can make this work. They didn't do any of that.
They weren't interested.
She committed a sin.
A big sin.
A big sin in the eyes of the Catholic Church. And there's no way you're keeping this baby. Because
punishment.
They acknowledged that it was worse than murder if a young woman, not married, had a baby.
Through a mixed relationship.
Well,
mixed race relationship.
That to me was a double whammy in their view. That was worse again. And language that's used there and things that are used there. So, yeah. We just have to fight on, you know, that she's recognised that her life means something. And she's not failed again. Because if she's failed again, what have we learned?
No.
The things that happened then, the decisions that were made then, if she's excluded and other people are excluded, should have just done it again.
I know.
They've just said, sure, you're insignificant. Your life didn't matter. And it matters a lot to me. And it will always matter to me. So,
of course.
That's it.
Paul, thank you for telling us your story. It's horrific. I don't know how you're coping at all because you're very, very brave and very strong. And you will keep fighting, won't you? You will. Yeah, you will. You have to. You have to.
You have to fight in the face of adversity, and we'll continue to fight on.
Good.
And that's all you can do.
Yeah. And you continue getting your story out there to wherever you can get it out. You're really important. Yeah.
It's hard to do.
People need to know what went on.
And I know there's a lot of people out there who can't do this. Yeah. And they're hurting as much as I am. So,
but you're able to be a voice for them. You can be a voice for them. Yeah.
We just have to. It's sad in a way that we have to bring ourselves in front of cameras. And
divulge all this, which is very private to you. It's difficult to do. Yeah.
But it's the only ammunition and tools that we have is our lived experience, and that's why we do this. That's why we get it out there. And you know, I stand in solidarity with all the other birth mothers and children now adults who are fighting, and we'll just keep fighting. What happened should not have happened. No, it should not have happened.
But it did. The reality is it did happen, you know. Unless something's done about it, it will continue to happen.
Yeah.
Paul, thank you once again. You're very brave for giving us your story.
Okay. Thanks.
And thank you all for watching. And until we meet again, namaste.